Hello there, Tina Sibley here for anybody who doesn't know me, and a very warm welcome to this workshop all about your dream life is waiting for you. So what's this workshop all about? It's all about how to design and create your dream life. And it's January, and there's a lot of people kind of at this point towards the end of January getting a little bit fed up because maybe they set New Year's resolutions. Maybe they've kind of gone off track already. Some people go off track as as early as like halfway through January the 1st. Some people take a bit longer before they go off track. And it's usually because they've not really set their New Year's resolutions in the right way. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions because they tend to be all or nothing kind of things. I've talked about this before on some of my workshops, and this whole thing, like, that's it. As soon as it's midnight, going over from 31st of December and the old year to the, brand new year, that's it. I am never, ever, ever going to eat another chocolate again in my life. Or I'm never going to have another, drop of alcohol, or I'm never going to, whatever. Now, generally, these all or nothing things, they don't work. Now, there are some exceptions to this, I mean, obviously, in terms of addictions, you have to kind of abstain, but then you go to the relevant groups for that. But generally, when it's like, I'm not going to eat this again, I'm going to exercise every morning, I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock every morning, or I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, and I'm going to go and do a workout before work. These all or nothing kind of things generally don't last long. They're not sustainable. I recommend instead, set your intentions of what you want to achieve and work out a plan of how you're going to achieve that, and give yourself a break, cut yourself some leeway. There's so many people have said to me, for example, one of the really extreme programs out there, it's 75 hard. That works for a lot of people, but the majority of people fail because it's this all or nothing. And as soon as they miss a single day, they have to go back and start again. Yeah, okay. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a bit more depth later on. That's going to work for some people, but for the majority of people, it's demotivating. Instead, cut yourself some slack. I say, all right, you want to lose weight, you want to get healthy, you want to achieve something. Work out a plan that's going to suit you. All right. I'm going to talk about this in a lot more depth in a bit, but it's going to suit you. Let's face it, you may have a birthday in January, or a friend may have a birthday, or you might have a night out planned. What is wrong with going out for the evening and enjoying yourself? You're going out on an occasion. Don't suffer because you've said, that's it, I'm never, ever, ever going to have, a sweet thing again in my life. Have dessert, enjoy it. Then the following day, get back on track again. It's just like crazy. But if it works for you, then fine. All right. But I'm just putting a few ideas and examples out there why people, don't manage to make this work long term. All right. So now I created what I call my discovery framework of goal achievement and success. And it's basically, or that's exactly what it is, creating your dream life. And I'm going to take you through that model, and I'm going to tell you why it's important and why people who don't follow something like this are going to come a bit of a cropper. And the first thing in the discovery framework is D, and that is decide what you want. Now, that might sound simple enough, but you know what? Some people don't actually know what they want. And so what happens is we set goals that we think that we should have, or that we think that we should want, because we have been programmed like from birth right up until 2 minutes ago by the world around us. And it's really easy to lose sight of ourselves in amongst all of that programming. So sometimes it's actually hard for us to know what we truly do want. And there's a step that actually comes before deciding what we want. And that is, you have to actually decide who you are. And you have to know who you are. Let me give you an example. When I first kind of got into the whole life coaching world, now I've been a coach in the corporate world as part of my training role, way back, probably. I mean, I was teaching and training, even when I was working in the banking industry. But then back in 1998, I started actually doing coaching. And then it was around about 2000, I started doing NLP and then life coaching shortly after that. So I've been doing this a long while. But here's the thing. I went off on all these, weekends and coach training programs and all the rest of it. And all I did was replace some of my previous programming with some of the new programming that was taught on these courses, And it's like, there's something wrong with you if you haven't got a dream to make $1 million by the end of the year, or £1 million by the end of the year, whatever currency you work in. Or there's something wrong with you if you're not having a dream to, this, that, the other. It doesn't matter. And throughout all of this, I was just replacing one set of programming with another. And you do lose sight of who you are. And sometimes it's really difficult to, even when you, do these exercises, it's sometimes difficult, and it takes a few times to do it. I got closer once I'd done my training to who I was. But then I had this vision. I want to impact the world. But nothing's changed, actually. I want to impact the world. I want to, help people. I want to make my living by helping other people's dreams come true. Well, what better way to make a living than doing that? But the part that wasn't right for me was I kind of I went to the Tony Robbins thing, and it was like, I want to be the next female Tony Robbins. I don't really know a coach who's kind of been to one of these things who hasn't wanted to do that, because it's infectious, and he's very good at what he does. And so I went into the world of, Toastmasters, Professional Speakers Academy, and I set that journey. But I still didn't truly and deeply know myself. And so I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. I was doing all the things, but there was something sabotaging and getting in the way. I didn't know what it was, because to get to the true deep you actually takes time and a lot of work and a lot of peeling back the layers of that onion. I now, since then, years since, I can tell you now that I know that one of the things that wasn't right for me is, back then, I think it is different now in fairness, but back then, to be a successful professional speaker, you kind of needed to have the look. The suit, immaculately groomed speaker look. If you know what I mean, yeah? And that was never me. It was never ever me. And all of the events that I went to with the Toastmasters and the professional speakers, this is what they taught. This is how they dressed. This is how they behaved, And I didn't resonate with that, so I struggled. And I kind of subconsciously self-sabotaged, because it wasn't who I truly was. That's just one example. All right. Once I figured out who I was, do you know what? I am a much more informal. I'm happiest wearing shorts, t-shirt, and flip-flops on the beach, or in my hiking gear, and without the immaculate makeup and hair and nails and all of that kind of thing. It's just not me. But I thought I had to wear this mask, this suit of armor, to be taken seriously, this, thing. But it was never me, and, therefore I didn't resonate with it. And all of this kind of stuff gets in the way of you really achieving what you want. Now, What's interesting is once I figured out who I really was, that actually, do you know what? I'm just a bit of a beach bum. I'm a bit of a, hippie chick. I'm now all of a sudden I'm resonating much more with what I am looking to achieve, and I'm beginning, to start attracting the right people for me. As I say, I knew a lot of the foundation stuff, but it's only really been since I did the Inca Trail 5 years ago that everything suddenly fell into place for me. And it's like I say, it's because you've got to peel back all the layers of the onion to get to that true heart. I remember reading, I think it was in a book. I forget who the author was. And I've heard the story a million times since, but it's about we are in our truest form a diamond. And then what happens is that life puts shit on us. So we end up with the diamond gets covered in shit. And that's all the programming, all the things that happen to us, the media, the rubbish, that gets piled on top of us. So we end up with a ball of being like a ball of shit. And we don't like that ball of shit. So what do? We put nail varnish on top of it so that it looks good and shiny again. And that's like the mask that we put out to the world. But to get to the diamond inside, you've got to first of all take off that nail varnish. Then you have to start chipping away at the shit and all those limiting beliefs and all those false beliefs and, all that kind of stuff. And we got to really chip away at that until we reveal the true diamond again. And then we can polish the diamond and make it shine brilliantly. All right. So the first thing is we have to truly do that work to discover and decide who we really are. Then we can decide what we want that's going to be in alignment with who we are. And one of the exercises I like to do with people is, okay, so this is what you want. What kind of person do you need to be to achieve that? And sometimes the kind of person that you need to be to achieve that is just like, no, I don't want to be that kind of person. Or sometimes it's, yes, I do want to be that person. So for example, for me, I do recognize that in order to achieve some of the things that I want to achieve, I have to be more disciplined. I'm not naturally disciplined. I'm not naturally routine. But I realize that there are some things that I have to become. I have to become more organized and disciplined sometimes to achieve what I want. But at the core foundation of me, I realized that the big 10x speaker type thing that's not the person that I wanted to be. Now, though, once you do know who you are, you can do things, but in your way. And this is the key. You've got to do everything your way. So if I'm asked to, I turned my back on speaking for a long while. I'm open to speaking again now, but only if I can show up as me, Yes, in respect for the organizers and the audience, I'll make a bit of an effort on my appearance. I'm not going to turn up in, necessarily in shorts, t-shirt and flip-flops. I will at least make sure that, my hair is tidy and looking nice. I've got a little bit of makeup on, but I'm not going to do the suited, booted, padded shoulders, high heels, and the classic speaker look. In fact, I will probably be speaking about a topic where it is appropriate for me to turn up in my hiking gear, but still looking smart. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you can, it's about you figuring out and making sure that what you want and who you need to be is all in alignment with your soul and who you truly, truly are inside. And believe me, that takes some work, but I have put together training which will help with all of this, which I'm going to tell you about a little bit later. And I'm actually giving it away at a ridiculous, like less than $50 price. So I'll tell you later. Anyway, so the D is you have to decide, and that is the biggest step. You don't do that and everything's going to struggle. Then it's like you have to then imagine as if you already had it. And this is where the whole visualizations, vision boards, meditation, and all the rest of it comes in, because you have to connect with it. You also have to have done the work previously in knowing why you want it and why it's so important. And if it is really important and it's in alignment, when you do the imagining and the vision exercises and stuff, you will feel it. Like for years, I had every intention and goal of losing weight, getting fit. Never did it. Wasn't a big I didn't have a big enough why. And the methods I was choosing weren't in alignment. You know, we all do it. We've all done it. Oh yeah, I could do with losing some weight, going to the gym. So I'll go and register for the gym. You know, by February, you're not going anymore. And it's because for me, and I know now, I will never, ever join a gym because I don't like them. I don't like working out in public. When I was training for Kilimanjaro, I hired a personal trainer, worked with him at home, and I loved it. Loved our sessions. I prefer working with resistance bands rather than weights. It worked for me. I actually started getting fit and losing weight when I did the Inca Trail, and I did videos at home, and it worked for me. You know, so you've got to do this in a way that's right for you. And when you visualize something and it's right for you, you will feel it. When I wanted to do the Inca Trail, I knew I was going to have to lose weight and get fit in order to do it. But what I did is I got as much research as possible, and there's a thing on Google Earth now, you can actually walk the Inca Trail, and I'd seen the videos, I'd seen the pictures, and I just imagined what it would be like for me to climb up the steps, the stone steps, and then go through the stone sun gate and see Machu Picchu in the distance for the first time. That kept me on track. So when I was tempted to stay in and not go out and do the walking, or tempted to eat the chocolate, I just had to recall that vision. And it's like, no, I want this more than I want the comfort of staying on a sofa, or the, 2-minute pleasure of eating the chocolate. I really wanted to do this. So this makes a massive difference. Vision boards are great, but if you don't know how to set them correctly, and you don't know how to make sure they're in alignment with who you are, and you don't actually use them right, they're just a bit of fun and they're not going to do anything special. All right. So now when I create a goal achievement success workshop and I include a bit of vision boarding in there, or how to do a vision board, you're going to know why, you're going to know what the processes are, but the first thing that we'll have done is figured out who you are and all that kind of stuff. All right. So this is why, vision boards on their own don't work. Vision boards done in conjunction with everything else is going to help you, and it's going to, work, but it's like not one thing. So that's I. S. This is your starting point. You have to be really brutally honest with where you actually are right now. I remember when I used to set these goals of that, hey, I'm going to go and lose some weight. Yeah, I could do with losing a few pounds. I needed to get real with how much. I needed to admit and fess up to where my starting point was. It's a bit like, I remember when I was in the TA, or the reserves, for the American audience. There was lots of exercises that we would do where we were dropped off in the middle of Dartmoor National Park, and we were given the location of a pub that we had to navigate to, at the end. We were never going to successfully navigate to that end point if we didn't know our starting point. And they didn't tell us that. And a lot of times, we'd be kind of like, the route would be hidden from us, and we'd just be dropped off, and we'd be in the back of a truck and we wouldn't know where we were going, and we were just booted out, given your map, all right, there you go. And the very first thing is, well, where am I? because unless you know exactly where you are, you can't plan a successful route. Okay, so the starting point is really important. Now, this is huge. C, choose your strategies, your options, and your way forwards. This is so important, and this is where people go wrong. One of the big problems is that you choose a strategy that is not in alignment with who you are. So the method's not going to work for you. Like going to a gym is not going to work for me. When it comes to losing weight, if you're like, oh, I'm going to go on a keto diet, I'm going to do this diet, I'm going to do that diet. If it's not right for you, it's not going to work. I tried loads of things. The one that worked for me was intermittent fasting. That's not to say it's going to work for everybody. You've got to figure out what's going to work for you in your lifestyle and who you are, your personality traits, and all the rest of it. And here's one of the things why a lot of time, especially in business, you go buy the courses, you work with a coach. I've done this. I've spent fortunes. And while there's nothing wrong with what's being taught, I mean, there was some times when I would like go on somebody's course or program and I'd like done already and knew how to do maybe 75, 80% of it. But I was forced to sit and go through their agenda rather than get to the bits that I was struggling with. And, it's kind of like they'll teach you maybe do this, do that, the other, but yeah, I'm doing that and I'm not getting the results. Now what? And very often you don't get to that. So for me, and this is why it's important to have somebody who is a coach and not just a mentor. Now, if you've got somebody who can do both coaching and mentoring, and that's something that I can do because of my background in the corporate world and all my, coach training, because it's about helping you to figure out which you've got all these options. And these options have worked for certain people. But it's about helping you figure out what option is going to work for you. If you're in business, it's got to work for you and it's got to work for your audience. And sometimes it's about being brave enough to not follow one person's teaching. The clients that I work with, I say, hey, you're not like locked in like in a prison with my suggestions. I encourage people to explore, and it's kind of like you can very often pick up a bit from that program and a bit from that coach and a bit from that mentor and a bit from that YouTube video and make something that is your own that's going to work for you, and it's all about helping you come up with that way that's going to really work for you. And not blindly having to go do this, do that, do the other, and especially then you get frustrated and a bit bored, and then you think, oh, sod this, and then you go and buy somebody else's program, and then you go through the same procedure and experience with a different person, still not getting anywhere because it's not completely resonating with you. This is why people fail, even when other people have had success with some people's programs and courses and all the rest of it. All right. So the choice of the way forward. And here's the other thing, right? When you do a program and they encourage you to watch and go through all of the material, it's impossible. It's too much, it's about prioritizing what's important for you right now and doing that one thing. And if you keep doing the next most important thing, rather than trying to overwhelm yourself with too much information, too much knowledge, you can't implement it all. It's about just taking a small bit. What's important for you now? What's going to get you to the next step? Do that. And then you start making progress. And when you start making progress, you got the motivation to keep going and keep making more progress. Whereas if you're just trying to consume knowledge and information and all the rest of it without any knowing what's next, you're going to get lost and you're going to give up, right? This is why people don't succeed. And sometimes, right, as well, people give up because it's not always easy. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we get thrown curveballs. Sometimes we get challenges chucked at us. And if you haven't got a strong enough motivation and a strong enough why, you're going to fold. That comes from the very first steps that we talked about, knowing who you are, knowing exactly what you want, knowing exactly why you want it, and having that motivation and desire and building up how it's going to feel when you achieve it. It's all interconnected. It really is all interconnected, but you've got to know this. Okay, so that's C. Oh, you got to own it. You have to take ownership. Nobody can help you massively. Actually, there are people who can help you and there are people who can get in the way. And we talk about that. It's what I call about pot fillers and pot drillers. But actually, when it comes down to the result, you have to own it, because you have to be in charge of your destiny. You have to take ownership of your life. And you have to own up to where you're allowing others to get in the way and choosing other people's priorities over your own. So you have to take the ownership and responsibility for saying no sometimes to close people, usually family and friends, and you have to say, no, I'd love to help you, but right now I have to focus on, something that's really important to me. And it's not selfish. For some reason, we've been brought up to believe that we should drop our own thing all the time in favor of helping other people. But as they, bit of a cliche, but it's true, on that aeroplane, you can't help others until you've got your own oxygen mask on. And in life, you have to make sure you're looking after your own oxygen and making sure you're okay before you go and help others. And sometimes it's like, telling your kids, right, you want something to eat, go and cook it. I'm busy. It teaches them a bit of self-sufficiency for a start. But, it's all about owning where you're weak on your boundaries and owning responsibility for your results. All right. V, you have to voyage on the journey. You have to take the steps. And it's better to take the steps, get it wrong, and have to make changes than to wait and wait and wait, trying to get it perfect. It'll never be perfect. Here's another reason why people don't do this. And I'm guilty. I've done this in the past. You come out with this great plan. And all the while it's in the future, you have high hopes that it's going to be massively successful. If you make a start and you flop and you fail, suddenly it can feel like you have no hope. So you keep putting it off and putting it into the future, because then you've got hope. All right. But anybody, all of these success stories, they've had failures. And what they've done is they've tried, they've tweaked, they've tested, they've experimented. And sometimes it's still the right thing to do, but you've just got to make some adjustments. And that brings us to the next one, which is E, which is evaluation. So you figure out what's working. Do more of that. What isn't working? Stop doing it or change it, tweak it. Because at some point, as they, I love all these cliches, don't you? The journey of 1,000, miles starts with a single step. When I did Kilimanjaro, that was a long old haul, 8 days, and each day was long and hard. But the guides just told us, we just make a start and we just work on the very first bit. Don't worry about day 5, we're not there yet. Today we're on day 1, and you just keep going, and you just you just make progress. And then on summit night, especially the first time when I was sick, it was just like, it was so hard. I was so poorly, but I built up such a vision and such a reason why I wanted to do this for my own personal satisfaction, that motivated me and it kept me going. You know, it's just like all of this is interconnected, guys. Yeah, so you have to evaluate. Now, I like R. R is to reward yourself for effort. Not reward yourself for success, but reward yourself for effort. Because if you don't give yourself a reward for the hard work that you put in along the way, then again, you can feel kind of deflated. You can feel, so set milestones and give yourself a reward when you hit those milestones. I remember years ago, I was in an awful telesales job, and I had to make a certain number of appointments. You know what it's like, target driven. And a lot of people just used to reward themselves when they made an appointment. I used to reward myself for every 20 calls I made, regardless of the outcome, regardless of whether there was no answer or it was engaged or it was no such number, or whether they answered and heard me out but didn't book an appointment, or whether they plain told me to go and F off. You know, it didn't matter what the outcome was. As soon as I hit 20, I would give myself a reward. Now, that reward might have been I went off and had a cup of coffee or a walk around the block, or, you know, I was about to say played a game on my phone, but I think that was before we even had smartphones. Well, before we even had mobile phones, let alone smartphones. But you get the idea, yeah? And then, you know, it's because it's really important to keep yourself lifted and motivated. The rewards have to be appropriate. Like, you know, it's no good going out for a, you know, a binge fest of chocolate just because you've lost a pound. Probably better to say, right, well, I'm going to give myself a nice relaxing bath with candles and all the rest of it. And I think you can think of this. I go into this in more detail in my program, but and then finally, why is, yeah, that's the big one. Yippee, we've done it. Now let's celebrate our success. And when you have a big success, when you achieve a big goal, oh my goodness, you need to celebrate. So many people go, oh yeah, great, been there, done that, fabulous, next. And then you wonder why you get burned out, tired, and the next goal doesn't seem to inspire you. God, no, enjoy it. You know, I know so many people, for example, who have made their dream come true by, like, they bought their dream house. They take a week, they move house over the weekend, and then Monday they're back at work. No, take some time off, enjoy it, go play with the furniture. You know, if you bought a nice house at the swimming pool, go and like do a few laps if it's warm enough. But enjoy it. Some people have bought a new car. You know, they've just bought their dream car. Take a few days off and go on a road trip. Enjoy it. Celebrate your successes. You know, if you've had a big win in business, then whatever is an appropriate reward for you, crack open the champagne, go out and have a slap up meal, you know, book a weekend away, whatever, you know, do something to have a big celebration of that success. All right. So there is a difference between R and Y. R is rewarding your efforts. Y is celebrating big time your successes. So that is my discovery framework. And that, honestly, guys, this has been developed over, I first started developing this way back in 2002, 2003. So it's like over 20 years old now. And I've honed it along the years, and it just works brilliantly. And, you know, if I say so myself, I'm a kind of living example. I had my goal of leaving the UK, coming to live in the sunshine, traveling, and then all of a sudden I realized I wasn't right where I wanted to be, to do some of the adventures that I wanted to. I'm just going to turn the light on. It's starting to get a bit dark here. So yeah, I had a bucket list item of, you know, doing the Inca Trail. To be honest, when I set that, I had no idea even really what the Inca Trail was, and I certainly wasn't a hiker. But when I discovered what it was, I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And I had to then suddenly deal with a whole set of limiting beliefs and ideas about myself and about my physical capability that I didn't even know I had. But I did it, and that gave me the confidence to tackle an even bigger one in, Kilimanjaro, which I then went and did twice. And now it's just like, wow, if I can do that, what else can I do? So this is all interconnected, guys, and it really is super, super important. So I just wanted to share that with you. And what I want to do now is tell you about something which I am really passionate about. It's a new initiative that I'm launching. I have had so many conversations with people, including other coaches, who have said that everywhere they go, they hear that 2023 seemed to be a really difficult year for a lot of people, including me. I had like all sorts of health issues in 2023, which got me down a little bit because I wasn't recovering as fast as I'd expected from my shingles that I had back in 2022 after I came down off the mountain. And then I had another outbreak in the April, I think it was, and it kind of set me back, and I just wasn't able to get the same level of fitness and all the rest of it back. So I had challenges too. But there are so many people who have had challenges of one type or another in 2023, and people are feeling it. There's almost like a collective feeling of gloom and being down, and I'm like, right, I have the antidote to this. I can really help. I've used it on myself, and yeah, I'm human. I get down too. I do know to pick myself up. Sometimes when you've had a few kicks in the teeth, it's harder than other times to pick yourself up. But I have the tools and resources to help. So I am putting together what I have put together, what I'm calling my positive impact experiment. And I have a goal. I have a big goal. My initial goal is to positively impact more than 1,000 people to help them boost how they feel and to begin starting to design their dream life and then begin starting to create it using my discovery framework for success and with all the strategies inside of that. And because I want to impact a large number of people, that's one of the reasons why I've kept the price, rather than doing it that includes, one-on-one coaching or even group coaching. It is self-study, but for 12 weeks, I'm going to go into the Facebook group and I'm going to give additional support live every day, or nearly every day. There may be the odd Sunday when I don't go in, but I would probably schedule a tip or something. But I want to really help as many people as possible. So I decided to do it for only $44, which is about, I don't know, 35 pounds, maybe 33 pounds. Not sure what it is in euros, somewhere between those two figures. And here's the thing, I chose 44 because it's low enough for people to jump on board. It is less than the price of something else that you will spend to give yourself a temporary pick-me-up, like a haircut or a massage or a set of nails, right? It is less than that. It's the equivalent of, I don't know, a month's worth of coffee and less than even Starbucks prices, okay? Which means, number one, it's a low barrier to entry. So you can jump on board and you can start learning this stuff and make a difference to your life straight away. But here's the other thing, and this is where I need your help. For everybody who comes on board, and there's no reason, why wouldn't you? But if you decide, well, my life is already perfect, well, I still want you to spread the word. And I'm going to give 50% commission to anybody who recommends this to somebody else. Now, what that means is if you bring 2 people, then essentially your place is free. But here's the thing why I'm saying for 2, right? And my dream, my vision is that everybody who comes on board will bring 2 people. Number 1, you get your place free. But here's the thing, with the doubling process, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 32, 64, and so on. It only takes 10 steps to reach more than 1,000 people. So it's 10 levels of sharing. And I want to like create ripples. I want to make a big positive impact. I also want to create a community of like-minded people who are all in this together and who are all going to chat and support each other. And it's a much more vibrant way than just a one-to-one just with me. Yeah, you get that. There's momentum. There's people doing this together. So that's why I'm calling it the positive impact experiment. So I am just going to share my screen and show you what this is. And I'll put the links, you know, where I send this replay video out. I promise you, if you want to make positive changes to your own life, this will really massively help. So it's kind of based over 3 months. You get all the information straight away. All right. But it's designed for you to work on it over 3 months because of the exercises and the work that you need to do. But I'm giving you access to all the information straight away because everybody's in a different starting point. So like I said, it's not even monthly. It's a one-off $44 investment. And it's all about you designing your life exactly as you want it. Like, where would you live? You know, what kind of work, if any, would you want to do? You know, maybe you're kind of thinking about stopping work and retiring, or, you know, what is, you know, how would you want that to look and be like? How are you going to spend your spare time? You know, who are you going to spend your spare time with? What do your finances look like? And you don't need to have a goal to earn $1 million, but if you do, heck, why not? Yeah, you're in charge. You set the parameters. You set the goal, what's right and feels something that you can resonate with. Where are you going to spend your holidays or your vacations for my friends across the pond? What are you going to choose to do? You know, maybe you want to take up a new hobby that you've always fancied doing and you've never, you know, got around to it. Maybe you want to learn something new, like dancing or a language or something. Maybe you want to go traveling solo for the first time. Maybe, you know, your friends don't want to go with you, or your partner doesn't want to go with you where you want to go. So it's like, well, all right, well, what if I went on my own? And maybe you want to start a new business or get a promotion in, you know, your current job or something. Maybe you're in a relationship that's toxic and you need to get out, or maybe you're in a job that's toxic and you need to get out. And maybe you want to go somewhere that you've always wanted to go, like me with my Inca Trail, you know, and then just do something that you've always wanted to do. All right. This is what it's all about. This is all about designing your dream life. But it's got to be in alignment with you and who you are. Okay. Whatever you want, I guarantee that if you do truly know yourself and develop the courage and strategies, you will achieve it. And it means more adventure, more fun, more success, and generally more happiness and a more fulfilling life. Okay. So, like I said, just explain the reason for the experiment is so many people have been struggling, and I want to reach those people. I want to impact a lot of people and help them through giving them access to my discovery framework. That's why I'm doing it. And the ripples are, like I said, it takes 10 levels of sharing. You know, you look at the doubling process, 10 steps to get to 1,024 people. And all it means is that it's not a pyramid scheme. You don't have to build a team. If you just bring on 2 people, and each one of them brings on 2 people, and all of those brings on 2 people, all of a sudden we'll be at 1,000 people. And it'll be an amazing community. And we'll all be having a lot of fun while we do it. So, yeah, join me and let's spread the word. Let's get the ripple out there, and let's begin creating your journey, to creating that dream life. Like I said, it includes all of my discovery framework. I go into a lot of depth. I give you loads of exercises to help you figure out exactly who you are, all around your values, your vision, your purpose. We look at your limiting beliefs. We look at what's going to help you. We, even help you figure out, well, maybe I need some skills. Maybe I need to, it's all there. It's all in that program. Like I said, it's delivered. You'll get all the material straight away, but it's going to take you. You can't like do it all immediately. Like I said, it's bit by bit by bit, and I'll be supporting you in the Facebook group for 12 weeks as well. Make a decision. This is my favorite quote, and I saw this picture. I mean, what a sign is this? This boat, this beautiful tall ship, sailed past my window yesterday, and I took a photograph of it, and I switched my other photo out for this one. But 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor. Ships are not meant to be in harbor. They're meant to be out there. Catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. Guess where discovery came from? I got a bunch of questions, FAQs there, and a little bit about me. And I do have all the, I'm not just somebody who's decided to do this, like having read a book a week ago. I've been coaching now for over 25 years, got all the certifications, so you are in safe hands. And my philosophy is that we dare ourselves to have adventures. And my favorite word is atrevete, and that is the membership area. It's called the Atrevete membership, which is Spanish for dare yourself. All right, so that is it. Now, all you have to do is you just simply click on enroll now. All you need to do is then fill in your name, your email address, and your phone number. And then the next step, you just put in your payment details, and then boom, you will be registered. You'll receive a couple of emails from me. Now, I mentioned a little earlier that I've been having some techie problems. You will be registered, and I will know that you're a member. But the automatic access to that training material there's a bug in the system, and I have not been able to figure it out. I don't think it's something I'm doing wrong, because I've set these up before, and for some reason it's not even giving me access to my courses that I've already granted myself in the past. So I will be getting some help over the weekend and on Monday to fix that. But what I'm going to say is, if you want to sign up now, as a way of saying thank you for bearing with me, I will give you a one-to-one 20-minute additional session with me to get you started, and I will send you some of the first material, or I'll bung it in the Facebook group, something like that. You will get access to the Facebook. That works. You'll get put into the Facebook group immediately, and I'll bung some of the first modules in there, so you can get to work on this straight away. Don't let things not being perfect stop you. It did occur to me, oh, maybe I should postpone the workshop. Maybe I should, no. Just, do you know what? Just do it. Even if things are not perfect, things are not ready. This is a lesson that I'm showing you here. I'm practicing what I'm preaching. Don't wait for stuff to be perfect. There's always a workaround. So, get out there, let the world know how amazing you are, and start designing and creating your dream life. So that is it, really. I wanted to take you through my discovery framework and show you why oftentimes people don't achieve their goals, what stops them and what gets in the way, and how the discovery process will help you not to fall into those pitfalls and give you the success strategies instead. I hope you've learned a lot from this workshop. Obviously in an hour or 55 minutes or whatever it is, I can't like fix the whole thing. And that's why I invite you to hop into my positive impact experience, and you'll get all that amazing training, and then tell your friends about it, because you will get some reimbursement. It will help us to create a fun community. And after all, who doesn't want to share in the pie? Get that? Positive impact experience, pie for short. we all like pie, don't we? So yeah, there we go. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for listening. I hope you get a lot out of just this session, and I know you'll get even more out of it when you decide to come and join me and take part in this experiment to make a positive impact to over 1,000 people. So that's it for me. Have an amazing rest of your day, rest of your evening, depending on what time of day it is and where you are when you watch this. And maybe, I don't know, have a great weekend, have a great week, again, depending on when you watch this video. That's it for me. Take care. Lots of love and big hugs. And I can't wait to help you design and create your dream life.